Cool.
Everybody, welcome to the Rochester Real Estate Show podcast. Jason Mancuso and Shane Allen of the Anthony Butera Team here again. We did one before, right?
We did, yeah.
Love it. So
I was newly licensed at that point, you
that's
know,
right.
fresh.
Yeah. What?
Green.
And now you're.
And now a salty vet, you know.
Well, you are because you're getting things done.
Sure.
Got some people that you've helped under your belt, so it's always a good feeling this early in the career. I mean, I always tell the story that I think it took me 6 months to get my first deal. Helping somebody out, and it was a rough first 2 years in business. So glad to hear it, buddy.
Had a lot of help.
Fair.
Yeah.
Kind of multi-pronged topic today. We're going to talk about how to properly market, your listing. Then there's more marketing on the real estate sales side of the business for sellers than there are buyers. I mean, there's certainly some tactics you can pull off if you're tailoring marketing specifically to buyers. But for today, we're going to focus on the sellers and the listings, and what we do to get things done, what's recommended. Shane, as we've mentioned, wears a couple hats. He's now an agent on the team and in the business, but before that, and continuing on, has been our director of marketing for the company, for the Anthony Butera Team.
Yeah.
And handling really everything on that side of the business, because, and here from my perspective, like to all the sellers out there, you don't want me in charge of marketing your stuff.
Sure.
So like Shane's got that gift, that creative gift, and a lot of talent in that department. So he runs that show. We do have an in-house photographer, Samantha, that covers all the photos for our listings for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But then Shane takes that and runs with it. So I'm a seller. What are you going to do to market my property?
Yeah, so I mean, just kind of touching on all that. So yeah, been an licensed agent for going on a year now, but have been doing the marketing stuff with the team for 4 years. Does that sound about right? Mm-hmm. But even before that, I've been doing digital marketing stuff for over a decade. With lots of different businesses, stuff like that. So built up the Inner Loop blog, something I run too with Facebook and Instagram. We're now getting close to 70,000 followers, I think, the last time I checked, which I don't say just to toot my own horn, which toot, but
well, shout out to that, because it's awesome content, and I mean, just a huge following. I mean, that was one of the things where, like, when we first started talking, just in terms of the resume, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, you help create this, like, you're hired.
Yeah.
So.
And anybody that's from Greece that's listening, it's just jokes. Like, I'll definitely sell you a house in Greece. Okay, I'm not gonna warn it. But So I just to say, like, I know the digital space. I know Facebook. I know Instagram. It's always changing. So like, we grew that organically, which means like we didn't pay for any ads. We didn't do anything like that. So I think I have a good grasp on what people are looking for. So when it applies to marketing a home, I think I have that eye for that, the graphics and stuff like that. But the most important thing is the pictures, 100%. Like, it's been said on this podcast a lot. It's like the photo day is the most important day. And that's because those are the tools that are going to be used everywhere.
Yeah.
For marketing, social media, Google, Zillow, it's going to be blasted out everywhere.
That's the content. That's the property.
Yeah.
Is the pictures and the video and whatnot that you get from it, right? So whether you're talking drone photos, you're talking videos, I just mentioned, there's there's a lot of listings that warrant like a 3D tour too. Mm-hmm. So all the content that you get, here's the key to this. Before you hit the market.
Yeah.
Is what you're then using moving forward and how the house is presented. I mean, you're going to talk about how you jazz it up and make it catchy and get people's attention with it.
Sure.
But, your house is either going to get attention on its own, potentially, or it's not.
Yeah.
Based on the content, mainly the photos that you get of it. So you could have a great house, nothing wrong with it, and crappy non-professional photos aren't going to present it as such.
Yeah.
And vice versa, like, whatever, dirty little secret, I guess, but like your house could not be that great, and professional quality photos can
Kick it up
make it look that much better to where, you know, you at least get butts in the door at that point, right? So, yeah, I mean, that one thing I want to add before you go on is like having the house as good as it's ever been, ever going to be for picture day, we call it.
Yeah.
Before you go live on the market is key. Because if you miss and then you go on the market, like, keep in mind the power that you have as a seller with a brand new listing that nobody's seen before.
Yeah.
Or at least since the last time it was listed, right, is tremendously important to take advantage on and execute properly versus like, you know, you get it out there, it doesn't sell, you know, you're being advised the pictures aren't all that great, and okay, at that point, 3 weeks later, let's bring a professional photographer in and reduce the price and put the new photos out at that point. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, if that's the case, sure, you kind of want to take that step, but you shot yourself in the foot already.
Yeah.
The most important thing you can do is like execute, make this presentation look as awesome as you can on day one, the first day it goes on the market.
Yeah.
Not scrambling and backtracking from there. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no way to understate the importance of those photos. It's especially like that's what people are going to be looking at, and you have to like remember that they're looking at a photo that's going to be about the size of a postage stamp, most likely on their phone, right? So it has to be clean, it has to be good looking, or they're not going to keep on clicking through the rest of them, right?
It's true. Yeah, and I mean, even, you know, going deeper into it, like you can even get professional quality photos and even have a nice house, but you know, now we can get into the weeds with stuff like clutter.
Sure.
And how that has an effect, right? And we always advise, you know, from a staging perspective, right? You know, that staging doesn't mean like go out and hire a staging company. If you do, sure, that much better because you'll be modern, in tune with the times, whatever. Like, you know, just have that much more appeal than your stuff if it doesn't have a appeal. You know, if it's like, you know, you're living in the 70s type of thing.
Sure.
But otherwise, if you already have a nice house, it's just a matter of staging with what you have and creating that marketing presentation with each room. And this is where it's just like, you know, don't leave anything out and declutter as much as possible.
Yeah.
Don't leave the lotion bottle and the Kleenex next to your bedstand because people just
They're going to make assumptions.
Yes,
you know,
right.
And we just know that you have dry skin.
yes, you're gonna end up
And
you're gonna
allergies.
end up on the Interlude blog before you know.
So yeah, I printed out. I have Sam, you know, the photographer that we have on staff. She has a great checklist that she sends out to everybody, and I kind of I split it up in some categories as well. You kind of touched on a few of them, but I figured we'd go over them today.
Yeah. Fire
Just
away.
first of all, like first thing a photographer is going to do, because I'm trying to learn this as well, because I got a camera and I'm going through this process of learning all this stuff, is light. Light is so important when it comes to photography. This means on your end as a seller, change your light bulbs. Make sure that the lights are working in your home. Also, this probably means washing your windows. It could mean removing the screens from your windows, because the natural light is phenomenal, which everybody knows now because you've stayed at home, worked from home. You know how bad you look with the lights off in your house in a meeting, and you know that you've watched YouTubes or like you need natural light. Open up the windows and stuff like that. So light, super important. Jason touched on it. Decluttering the house, clear off the counters, leave minimal decor. I get it. You know, you worked really hard in your house, decorating everything like that, but like just trust us. Minimalist is what you're going to go for. Full on Marie Kondo style, like bare bones, right?
Less is more. Yeah, I mean, not to say, so like the example, clearing off the counters, right?
Yeah.
It's not to say like totally empty counters.
Sure.
Right? It's you know, again, back to staging with what you have. Like you may have that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the name, but like that, all the ladies love it where they got the checkered print stuff all over the place, right? Like, use that stuff, sure. Make it tasteful, make it decorative, right?
Yeah.
But just remove the Ninja blender that's next to it.
Yeah.
Usually in your everyday life.
Yeah.
Remove the big clunky toaster oven or what do you call it, air fryer or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that off the counters. Remove your dish soap, right?
Yep.
But if you have like a, again, fancy dish soap holder, or, maybe a poor example if there's no soap in it, but you know what I mean? Like you can use your decorations. It doesn't have to be totally empty. It's just like wherever we can, eliminate items that, nobody wants to buy your house because of your air fryer.
Yeah.
Take it out.
I mean, yeah, but I think you innately know this now just from, HGTV, Instagram, anything you follow on there. You're going to see somebody's like set up at their desk, right? But you're not going to see them paperwork everywhere and pens and all that stuff. So it's that type of thing.
Yeah,
so.
Create the the vision of what each room can be, right? So like that, the desk, the office example is a great example. If you're using a bedroom for an office, it doesn't mean like swap it out for a bedroom. You could still have that be an office, and have your computer there and everything. But just whatever. Your scrap paper and all pens laying around and files on the on the floor or whatever. Like move that up.
Yeah.
We may get to get real specific, like that office example. Staying on that.
Yeah.
You may have a big old clunky file cabinet. We may tell you, let's get that out of there.
Sure. Yeah.
Minimalist approach type of thing. So.
Yeah. And so that all touches on staging, which, like Jason said, it doesn't mean that you have to, immediately hire a staging company to come in. I mean, obviously that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it does mean using what you have to its fullest potential. And that means like getting rid of the big clunky stuff. You want it to have perceived space, right? That's what you want. You want this room to look as big as it possibly can, which means, smaller furniture is great. Removing, like you said, the big file cabinet, that takes up a lot of space. It's going to, distract people from seeing the full potential of that room.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned furniture, like, living room, family rooms are a great example of, like, having, if you got a big family and you've got, like, a chair for each person, right? That may be where it gets, I don't mean to say intensive, but the advice may be of like, look, you got 4 recliners in this family room. We gotta make this room look bigger and not just a movie theater setup of recliner. Good for you. I love your style, right? But like let's make this room live up to its full potential as possible. And that may be where we come in and be like, hey, look at, we don't need to photograph your unfinished basement or your garage if there's nothing to really feature.
Yeah.
Put it in the garage.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. So for like photo day with my house when we sold it, everything went in the corner of the basement because there wasn't going to be pictures taken there. Like you said, the garage.
Yep.
Get stuff in there. If you have a lot of people just have storage units at this point. Load it up, right? I think my father has now 5 storage units.
Yeah, love it.
It's a hoarding issue.
No, I love that.
Yeah. Looking forward to dealing with that. Pets is something you want to think about. Like, we get it. You love your pet. Your dog is your son or your daughter. But you want to make it seem like they'd never step foot in your house.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
You want to get rid of their dog bowl, their beds, all that stuff goes into storage, gets put away. Any paw print style, decorations you got. Yep. You want it to go. If you got a couch that just looks like the cat has shredded it, probably get that going as well. I mean, people are going to see your pictures online and they associate pets with smells. They associate it with allergies.
100%. You just add, and I mean, look at I could say what I'm going to say right now, and you could be like, well, that person isn't buying the house anyway. But you want activity. You want butts in the door, as I referred to earlier.
Yeah.
And as you referred to, the person with pet allergies who's looking at listings online and sees, a lot of signs of pets.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, probably skipping over that. Versus, I'd rather get that person in.
Yeah.
And maybe there's the hope that they can be, I don't mean to say realistic, but maybe they can kind of have the mindset of like, okay, if I give it a fresh coat of paint, change out the carpets, and if that makes sense for their budget, and a lot of those old pet concerns are then eliminated.
Yeah.
Get the ducts cleaned. I mean, you should, do that anyway. You're moving to a new house, like get your ducts cleaned. You don't know what, when it's been done last, unless it's marketed or, how the people before you or even the people before them have been living, right? And I think a lot the duct clean is kind of, I feel like, a newer thing, right?
Sure.
So like these homes that are older, it's not uncommon that the ducts have never been cleaned and they come in and do it and just
100%.
Sucking out everything, right?
Yeah.
So off on a tangent there about duct cleaning, but
no, yeah. And this is the ozone systems.
So actually, I just got suckered into that. I'm happy I did it, but yeah. So we needed our ducts cleaned, and the guy came over and he did this, because I have allergies, my son does, and just from the standpoint of cleaning fresher or breathing.
Yeah.
Fresher air. Why not?
Yeah.
This is the actual, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. This is the actual thing attached to a furnace, the ducts. But there's also a product where then back on topic, if your house stinks, before you go on the market, there are products out there, some refer to as ozones, where you can get it in there. You don't have to leave your house for days, but you leave for a few hours. Whatever magic happens, and you got a fresh smelling house when it's done. So stuff like that is worth it. So
which is to say, there's ways to remove the smell. There's no way to remove that first impression that somebody's going to get online of looking at your house and seeing, all these paw prints and everything like that as a wall decoration. Like, okay, I can smell this house through the computer.
Yeah, I'll pass.
This is the time to really sweat the small stuff. The Sam's checklist is a great job of really going over some things that you would probably forget to do. I mean, make your bed up, clean the toilet, mow your lawn, do a little landscaping. If you can't hire a landscaper, something like that, just that, those small things are going to add up.
Well, and the comment of again, not telling you to hire a stager, not telling you to hire a professional landscaper. Go get 5 bags of mulch and put them. Put a fresh layer on top. You don't have to. Not saying get 3 yards delivered or whatever, but just make it fresh. Right? That's DIY stuff that's totally doable and that's what I was going to say. We talk about. We could talk constantly on advising sellers on making investments that are going to have a rate of return.
Yeah.
A $20 investment in mulch.
Yeah.
Compared to just leaving weeds. Mm-hmm. In dirt, you're going to have a rate of return, guaranteed, right? So that's the type of stuff to think about. And, I'll add that, selling a house is a stressful thing. You got a lot on your plate to begin with.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff we talked about is fairly obvious, but it's okay. We know it's stressful. We're not coming at it what the hell's wrong with you? I don't,
Yeah.
Why aren't you ready? So this is why, poor audio, but here's the checklist that Shane's referred to a bunch. You can't tell too much there, but it's a full page with, I don't even know, probably pushing 50 items or so of just, some obvious, some stuff that you will overlook. A good example is taking all the stuff off your fridge, magnets and whatnot, calendars, all that stuff. So.
Yeah. So it just basically comes down to this idea, if your house looks messy, people are going to assume that you're a mess, and they're going to assume the worst for the upkeep of the home and parts that they can't see.
Beauty. The importance of basically everything we're talking about so far is in prep for before they even step inside the home as buyers. Mm-hmm. How do you make your house stand out online in the pictures?
Yeah.
Getting them inside is a whole different animal, but so.
Yeah, until I saw Sam's checklist and everything like that, it didn't click for me. Things oh, you know what? I've never seen a garbage can in a listing photo, right? If you do, that's not great. Yeah. So homeowner pictures is something that I think is we should touch on. Like,
sure.
Obviously Sam does an amazing job with the pictures she does and stuff like that. But if you have pictures that you have taken that kind of show the seasonality of your home, I think that that's fantastic. Like we have a few listings right now that are waterfront properties showing like sunsets over there, because I think the idea of telling the story of your home and, you know, letting buyers see where they fit into that story is huge. I would say, for like example, my house, I have an apple tree, so when that thing blossoms, the backyard's looking fantastic. So obviously lining up a listing with that might be near impossible, depending on if when are we going to sell this house. So having those pictures are great. Also got a creek in my yard. Gonna want pictures of it when it's actually flowing. There's ducks in there, as opposed to when it is dry and it smells and it looks weird and my neighbor's garbage is in it. Right.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think the most common example of that is when you're listing in the wintertime, right?
Sure.
And it's just, 3 feet of snow on the ground the entire time.
Yeah.
Especially when you have features, right?
Yep.
You can kind of be counterproductive too if you're like showing a summer picture of your backyard and it's nothing to offer, right? Or crap. It's almost at that point it's kind of a good thing that snow's on the ground, I guess, right? But when you have like a great patio or whatever, and you're selling in the winter and it's covered in snow, like having the photos of that is great. And I'll toot our horn here. Like, I always say we want to be involved as early on in the process, buying or selling, meaning years is okay.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, like, hey, look at, arrogantly speaking, I'll be around in the business if you do something 5 years from now. So even though we're talking right now and you're no plans to do anything, don't feel like you're bothering me.
Yeah.
If you call me 3 weeks from now with a question or whatever. More so to the point of this is like, we have an in-house photographer that's on our staff. So we have the ability, if we're planning well enough ahead, like if we know, say there's a relocation involved and you plan on listing in the fall or winter. Yeah. And we know that in the spring or summertime, we will tell you like, hey, why don't we get out there now? Take the time, make the yard look as good as it's going to get, or time it up to where everything's, that 10-day period or whatever in the spring where everything blossoms at once, right? Get us out there then. And then we're still going to do exterior photos when you list, just because you want to have like, you don't want to seem like your house is left over from the summer if you're selling in the winter and only having summer pics, right? Yeah. So you want to have photos current with when you are listing, but then we can professionally feature what the summertime or what the features of the property on the outside are. Yep. Even though you're not in that season. So we're happy to like provide that service on our end well ahead of time. Yeah, and that goes back to what you're talking about with the return on investment stuff. So the more in advance you can talk to, a real estate agent and be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing such and such with my house or outside, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think that, helps me with selling this home? The agents on our team work with a lot of buyers. They can tell you like, oh yeah, I just had a buyer that we just saw a house that had something similar. They're super impressed by that. Or they can be like, yeah, I've shown a lot of houses with that, and I've never heard anybody be like, yeah, gotta have that. Right. So yep. Yeah, and in term, back to the return on investment too, like that move of like getting us over early for photos to time up the season that you want to feature. Yeah. 100% return, because it doesn't cost you anything. Yeah. I mean, we're not charging you extra for it, right? It's not like I'm going to bill you for an additional photo shoot. This is just falling under what we charge, what we get paid when your house closes, and we do a great job for you. Sure. So, last category I was going to touch on was like depersonalizing your home. Just getting the pictures of you and your family out of the house. I know a lot of things are just nailed in and stuff like that, but if you can replace it with something else, if you can. Just the whole idea of it is, I see it as people are trying to envision themselves in your home, right? They want to make this their house. If they see pictures of you, that's just one more thing that's distracting them. They're now looking at you
they're judging you, then they're judging what you are doing in the house. It's a whole thing. And while they should be thinking about like, oh, I really like his kitchen, instead they're thinking about, wow, Shane, I saw that picture of him, and he's got to be eating a lot of weird cheese in that kitchen. I don't know if I want that, right?
No, it's definitely worth talking about. It's definitely a topic. And like I can go a couple different angles with it, because we get this a lot in terms of sellers. Like, hey, like seller's position. I don't care if my family's pictures are up. Do I need to take them down? My response would be, okay, no, not necessarily. However, here's the risk of leaving them up: is that just generally speaking, people are going to be checking you out, right? And does that deter any interest away from the property itself? Where I'm adamant about taking them down is that if you have those massive canvas prints of your wedding or your family photo in the living room that takes up the entire, half of a wall,
sure,
take it down. Because now we can't, short of like photoshopping it out, which we don't want to do, we can't hide that from the listing online. And now everybody's looking at your giant face online.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a deterrent.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Is like, I think everybody now knows enough, because everybody uses Zillow as a form of social media. You know that those photos are going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So having your name, like people have their names and stuff, their children's names up on the wall, like that's probably not great for your security or their security, that those are going to be living online for a while.
Yeah, especially kids' names and stuff. And, whatever. I think rightfully so. We live in a kind of necessary to be paranoid day and age, right?
Yeah.
But, that on top of just like, God forbid the potential buy. They would probably find out anyway, but like, you're a seller and you bullied a potential buyer in high school and they're no longer interested. They may not, know exactly who you are if they don't see your photo.
Yeah.
A name means less in a way, a name on paper with a contract kind of means less in a way than like, knowing their whole family story when you walk through the house. So,
yeah.
My take is that generally speaking, I guess the rule of thumb on my end is like, if there's photos up and they're small enough to where it's not going to be like visibly present or standing out on the online photos and you want to leave them, fine. But I'm still telling you, like, hey, basically, yeah, sure, people are going to be coming through your house, but they're also going to be walking up to your man. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, good. Can we get on tour now?
Yeah.
So that's just, that's just how it works. So.
And with that too, I was going to say, I would say store your urns.
Yeah.
I've seen some urns, and it's like, first of all, it's a weird vibe.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, I wouldn't trust, if you're showing houses, and I wouldn't trust strangers coming through there and got Nana's ashes up on the mantle. People are messing around with stuff. Woo.
I even say messing around. I hate to scare the process, but it's just like, somebody
bumps into something.
It's a house they're not familiar with,
Yeah.
right? Bump into something, or elbow goes one way, and now, Nana's spilled on the ground. Not good.
Not good. Not good.
Same topic, but like valuables, just as an aside.
Yeah.
Get them out. Or,
For sure.
Safeguard them, whatever you want to call them. Gun cabinets, guns, etc., that sort of thing. Like this day and age, obviously, just
Yeah.
hide them. You don't want to like visibly market, your gun collection online. So
That's basically what I have here. There's a lot more that Sam can speak to, because she's like we said, she does a phenomenal job. And she'll help you out day of too.
Yeah,
with moving, hey, move that stuff around. She'll give you tips.
Yeah, we give this checklist in advance to prep for before we show up for the photos. The goal is we're showing up for the photos and we don't have to come back.
Yeah.
Right. But so while we're there, it's like, we can move the garbage can out of the kitchen, right, or move the garbage that's visible in the bedroom, right? Stuff like that, or whatever the example is.
Yeah.
Tough to get into touch-up painting or, swapping photos out or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do some light staging, I guess, is the way to describe it.
Yeah.
From there, you're online, your listing's live, and then it's just, I don't know, I think touch briefly on just the state of the World Wide Web these days, I guess.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's why these photos are so important, because that's what's going out to all these websites that people are searching for your home. Those are the pictures that I'm using to make all the ads that are going out for all the listings that we do. You know, we do stuff with social media. We have Google, you know, stuff's going on our website, getting sent over email. Like, we have a lot of facets, and those photos are getting used for every piece of it.
Yeah.
And that's what people are looking at, you know.
It's that important.
Nobody's reading things, right?
Yeah.
They're keeping everything's bullet pointed. You know, you've been on a blog, you know, so you just read the headline. Mm-hmm. Nobody's reading articles anymore. Mm-hmm. But people are looking at the pictures. They want stuff like that. So those photos are huge. And I know we went over a lot of stuff, and it seems like a lot of work, but it's like, it really does pay off. And honestly, it's like, I wish that I could spend, like, just choose a week every year and just pretend like it's going to be photo day at my house, because just the decluttering is phenomenal.
Hopefully your wife doesn't listen to this, because now you got a week a year booked.
I need it.
You need it. Yeah. Fair enough. No, I mean, the whole point here is, you know, we mentioned return on investment, right? Yeah. This is, you know, don't get me wrong, there could be some expense here, but it's, it would have to be a separate conversation if you're spending thousands, much less getting near there. This is like sweat equity. Mm-hmm. So the return on investment, I mean, sure, if you're somebody who, you know, has a high value of time or whatever, hourly rate, whatever you want to call it, then I guess it can add up. But like, this is just getting ready to sell your house for top dollar. Get it ready.
Yeah.
Get it ready for picture day. From there, yeah, when the house is being shown, like what I usually tell people is like, yeah, I mean, you don't want to leave, you know, the greasy taco pan out on the kitchen, mm-hmm. you know, stove, or a ton of dishes in the sink. Yeah. But, you know, again, the soap can come back out on the sink, right? Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect when it's being shown. You don't want it to be trashed, obviously, but your moment of truth is for picture day before you go on the market. Mm-hmm. So, good stuff.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Shane Allen here of the Anthony Butera Team, agent and director of marketing. And, appreciate you tuning in. Good stuff, brother.